EP QCAT podcast, Tech Innovation, Future Smart Cities. Researcher Alain Godefroy, with 10 plus years experience in crypto and blockchain, founder of LAC Research.
Hi, thanks for having me. Know a bit of everything. What are we discussing today?
Today we'll be discussing something that we found very interesting, indeed, which we noticed you mentioned in some of your videos. It's about how we believe work will evolve significantly alongside technology and AI in the future as we move forward towards the year 2030 and beyond.
I think that the events occurring in the world are undeniably historic. We are at an extremely crucial point in time where we, as human beings, cannot keep up with the incredibly fast reach of AI. While we are here talking, AI continues to evolve, reaching PhD levels. We face a significant challenge in adapting to these advances and to new technologies in general. We're discussing AI, blockchain, and how we can utilize them today, not just to monetize them, but to stay one step ahead. There's a misconception AI will replace all jobs, but I disagree. AI users gain an advantage. And that's what's happening. There are many people, typically those in their 40s and older, according to various studies, who are in denial due to ego or because they are used to comfort and cannot adapt to new technologies. All positions related to data movement are certainly the most at risk of being replaced by artificial intelligence. We're all familiar with ChatGPT. Now imagine, ChatGPT is like a co-pilot to whom you give orders and it obeys. Whether it performs well or poorly is a constant progression. But we're entering a world where, while some are just beginning to use AI, those in the know are already looking to develop AI agents. And what is an AI agent? It's not just going to be your co-pilot, it's going to be your pilot. It's like having a 24/7 assistant to help you, make calls for you, and do all the work you need, like reporting. Imagine you have to travel and need to make an itinerary for hotels, food, whether for tourism or work or whatever. Imagine if artificial intelligence not only made the plan for you, but also compared it and called hotels and restaurants to see which one best suits what you're looking for. That's already happening. I think there's a huge challenge here for anyone listening to this podcast to get their act together and understand that we have to be open-minded and that technologies continue to evolve. We were used to a ring phone because I'm older, and then we switched to a mobile phone. People struggled with mobile phones. Then we switched to a smartphone with a touchscreen, which was also difficult for us. People need to understand using AI shouldn't mean denying or not using our brains, because there are many people who say, I don't use that because I want to keep thinking. But companies look for money, and money calls for efficiency. So companies are going to look for efficiency, and if you're not prepared for that change, then unfortunately you're going to lose out and be left who knows where. What do you guys think?
My question is, so you don't think AI will actually replace any specific career or profession? You think it'll just be a great assistant, a great pilot, more than a replacement, right? Because I do feel that, broadly speaking, what has been gradually emerging in recent years is the growing fear of how well artificial intelligence can do things remarkably better than we can in various fields and industries, far better than human capabilities in many of the numerous professional domains that have been traditionally taught and learned in a very classical, heavily information-based and structured way, which in fact artificial intelligence could do better, which are now being challenged by AI.
I'll answer with an example. A couple of weeks ago, in Silicon Valley, Y Combinator, the world's largest incubator, held a demo day. Of the 96 companies that participated in the demo day, 94 were using artificial intelligence, and one of them was, for example, you've seen that when we don't pay at the bank, they call us and call us and call us, and it's human beings who call us. One of these companies is automating that entire process. People losing jobs currently working in a call center. So you'll tell me, how will they call me? How will they know who I am, what I owe? Startups are doing that. It's not what's gonna happen, it's what's happening. Sometimes we're interacting with a service and a robot answers, whether it's Cloro, Movistar, Intel. We humans, Latinos, don't like it when a robot answers us. We say I don't want it, I don't like it, I need a human. But what if I told you that the point isn't that a robot serves you? The point is that you don't like it because you know there's a robot in the first place. But what if you didn't know there was a robot? We are going to reach that level of artificial intelligence where it will be supernatural, and we are already getting there. So, not only in terms of the evolution of work, but also in the fact that there are certain sectors that will suffer more than others. For example, people who handle payrolls mainly cross-reference information. When you cross-reference information, validate information, and manage actions, those types of jobs are the ones most at risk. ChatGPT may be pilot, co-pilot, but it takes orders. Creativity is human. Creativity and critical thinking. Studies showed humans have something a GPT hasn't yet achieved. And there's a massive race going on not only in terms of AI, but also in terms of blockchain. New technologies should truly require us to constantly evolve and also take advantage of them in order to monetize them. I think there are many people who do not realize that a single person. This alarm is to remind you to subscribe and like the video. A single person with different AI agents could make a one-person startup. Large startups are run by a single person and several AI agents. Obviously, they have to be capable people, geniuses, but that won't be unusual in the future. Smaller startups will be created with higher performance and seem like a team operation, but they're just a couple of robots. For example, on this topic of the Silicon Valley Demo Day, there was another company made up of people who studied intelligence, who spent years in intelligence in different countries, who got together and set up a help desk. When you own a business and your computer crashes, you go to the IT department. Vulnerabilities or hacks are more serious. What this company does with AI is monitor all your systems in real time and identify vulnerabilities. So that means the IT departments, as we know them, could cease to exist. So, I doubt if outsourcing will grow, or if they're going to implement AI systems on-site within companies. But that a huge change is going to happen, and many people are going to lose their jobs if they don't evolve their mindset, if they don't understand that this can also be an opportunity. Well, yes. Recently, there was a meeting of the World Economic Forum where they presented a report on the future of work. And what they said was that this technological evolution will cause many people to lose their jobs, but it will also create new jobs. It's an adaptation to new technologies.
It's an inevitable adaptability. In fact, I imagine that given the level of sophistication that artificial intelligence is going to reach and, as you say, the outsourcing of certain branches, such as assistance from Homeland Security and all that, there will have to be technological infrastructures, like blockchains, that significantly support these companies or institutions. In that regard, we can, in essence, in fact, talk about CAT and QCAT as an infrastructure that could be an option for these new work models where there will be few people monitoring everything, and they will simply have to be, in various ways, at the mercy, so to speak, of the infrastructure that can support them and do a good job. Finally, what could you say about all this to the people who are watching us?
I think, even though it sounds cliché, it's that you need to study, be always learning. I know it sounds very generic, but there are communities in Peru, Latin America, and other countries that can teach you for free. You can listen to podcasts. If you're on the subway, driving, anywhere, or even washing dishes, you can listen to a podcast. There are tons of them, and very good ones, too. I think one of the biggest challenges everyone should face is to not focus on just one source of income. In fact, a study says that by 2030, 50% of humans will definitely seek another source of income, and I think that's already happening. I don't think any of us here want just one source of income and are looking for more, because I think that's the idea. New technologies will allow this, but only for those who know how to use them, reducing your time to a minimum. Don't be biased into not wanting to use them, because if you don't want to use them, others will be able to and will replace you because, in the end, within jobs, unfortunately, and to put it bluntly, you are just another resource, and if that resource isn't efficient, then buy and that's it. So study. There are plenty of places to study: Google, YouTube, podcasts. Follow QCAT and follow me too so you can learn about tech.
Well, thank you, Alain, for your advice. We'll see you in the next episode.
And go study. Bye. See you later.